Dan, sticking with you for a moment, what's going on with former mayoral candidate Ray Lopez? He's making headlines. He says he wants the mayor to be investigated for a campaign contribution.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics. It combines two of my favorite topics, I should say, soccer, and a lot of people know I'm a soccer fan, as well as political intrigue and alleged malfeasance. But in this case, what Ray Lopez is saying is we've already talked about how he's not a fan of the mayor,
right,
and probably the most vocal critic of the mayor on the city council. He's talking about a $25,000 donation that the mayor's reelection campaign got from a billionaire named Joe Mansueto, who owns the Chicago Fire soccer team in Major League Soccer. They play their games at Soldier Field, but now they're getting a new facility for training, I believe, out on the west side. It was a bit controversial. It took a while. She had to use her muscle, the mayor, to get it through a couple months back because one of the controversial things is they're using Chicago Housing Authority land. So you have land that all this public housing got torn down over the last 20 years or so. And, of course, the city and various administrations and the CHA promised that they would create new affordable housing. Well, they haven't created nearly as much as they tore down, nearly as much as they said they would, and yet you're giving this piece of property to a professional sports team owned by a billionaire, and then that billionaire makes a donation. Now, I don't know if the ethics board or the inspector general, as Lopez wants, is going to do anything about that.
Do you think it's worth the IG looking into?
I think even when you look at his statement about it, it's an issue of perception more than, and the mayor's people say that they followed the rules. There are rules that are intended to prohibit this sort of appearance of pay to play, but there are loopholes in those rules that you could drive a $25,000 donation through.
This is
I would
Reset.
imagine.
I'm Sasha-Ann Simons. We're going behind the headlines in the weekly news recap with Chicago Tribune political reporter Alice Yin, WBEZ investigative reporter Dan Mihalopoulos, and Christian Farr, reporter for NBC5. A reminder, you can now watch the weekly news recap live on the WBEZ Facebook and YouTube pages, and you can leave us a comment or question or just talk to us in that YouTube chat box, and I may just read what you have to say about these stories on the air. Back to you, Alice. Monday was also the last day to file to run for city council. Chicago's longest-serving alderman also made some news that day. Fill us in.
Yeah, it was pretty much 50-50 surprise for all of us. We knew he was out there for weeks collecting petitions.
And we're talking about Alderman Ed Burke.
Yeah. Sorry. And, I think even some of his supporters who were out there collecting petitions didn't really know what was going to happen with them. But it was pretty much wait until 5 p.m. Board of Elections confirmed to us he did not file to run. And that was how we found out about the news. But I don't know exactly what this means for him next. He hasn't spoken about what he's going to do about his position as 14th Ward Democratic Committeeman. We know his wife also announced her retirement from the Illinois Supreme Court this year. But it definitely spells kind of the end of an era. Longest serving alderman, very closely associated with the Chicago machine, if you will.
Yeah.
Could spell a new era.
Well, Dan, Christian, what do you think? Your thoughts on Burke's legacy? What will that be?
That's so interesting. Look, fall from grace, and then a part of the council wars. When you look back at Chicago history, Alderman Burke has been a part of it. And so not to hear his name, I've been in Chicago for 16 years. And the day I showed up, I started at TTW. So we did a ton of politics when I was there. And that's why I got ingrained into the political structure of Chicago, which was totally different from where I came from in Philadelphia, to have 50 aldermen. And one of those most powerful ones, if not maybe the most powerful one at that time, Ed Burke. And now to see him step away, and truly this is a fall of grace. He's not going out. We've seen a lot of aldermen go down. We've seen a lot of politicians go down in just the past several months, being indicted, being, put behind bars, things that the whole Daley family, when you look at what's going on with Patrick Daley Thompson, it's just, it's shocking what's going to happen next here. And his wife, also Ed Burke's wife, stepping down as well. So it's definitely the end of a political era, and you want to see what's going to happen next with that.
Yeah. Thoughts on YouTube. Shamrock Bloom says, good riddance to Ed Burke. How could he even be eligible to run after being indicted?
Hasn't been convicted yet.
Yeah, true. Alice, any idea who might want to replace Burke as a 14th Ward alderperson?
Yeah, two people filed for his open seat. I don't remember their exact names, but I think one of them is the chief of staff for Cook County Commissioner Alma Anaya, and the other is someone who's been closely tied with Burke's political circle. So it will be kind of an interesting matchup. I know last time he won re-election despite it happening after the FBI raid, and I think Chewy he endorsed a candidate against him, and it did not work out.
Let's go through a couple more comments on social. Well, Chicago 675 says, didn't Mayor Lightfoot say she was going to be different from past mayors? This soccer story is a mess for her, and the whole CHA land swap isn't a good look for her either. And the same person continues to say, even if there is a legal loophole, the mayor knows the spirit of the law.